It says live. I think we are live. Mohegan Sun Sportsbook live from the FanDuel Sportsbook at Mohegan Sun. Happy Halloween, everybody. Here live in the Sportsbook, watching on YouTube, either on the Odd Shopper YouTube page or directly on the Mohegan Sun YouTube page. I am normally Mike Mutnansky, but tonight I am Mohegan the Cow. Get it? Mohegan. It's Halloween. You have to dress up. You like that? Justin likes that. Thank you, Justin. Sean, who's here with the PR team as well, their social media team suggested maybe I'm actually a cash cow, but I am Mohegan, the degenerate gambling cow. Live here for week number 9, Sportsbook Live at Mohegan Sun. A special guest will join us here in a couple of minutes on the screen. Of course, Brad Bryant will join us here as well. If you've not joined us yet here at Mohegan Sun's FanDuel Sportsbook, you have 2 weeks left to do so, at least in this current version of the show for the grand prize. Now, what is the grand prize? You're watching now on YouTube, have not been here. Grand prize, give it away next week. Table for 4, any Sunday in the Sportsbook, food and beverage comped, hotel room if they're not sold out. How do you win that prize you're watching right now? We'll get to the football in a second. You're here at Mohegan Sun. You make a $10 bet. Those listening right now in the Sportsbook, any $10 bet between 6 and 7 p.m., Halloween, next week, whenever, you get a raffle ticket. You get a chance to qualify. Give away weekly prizes, $100 gift cards to FanDuel every single week. And we give away a grand prize next week of, as I said, table for 4 in the Sportsbook on a football Sunday. If you're watching on YouTube, we are going to do a special segment tonight, Ask Bomber. So if you have questions for Brad Bryant as the general manager here, Sportsbook manager at Mohegan Sun, put those questions in on YouTube. We'll check some of the questions coming up. You can get me on Twitter, at Mike Mutnansky. Send those as well. And yes, Sean wants me to show these off. Sean, here you go. The Udders play. Not just on OnlyFans for Udders. You can get it here on Sportsbook Live at Mohegan Sun. We want you to join us live. If not, watch us on YouTube. And you don't make it down here live this week or next week, this is the place. This Sportsbook, the best Sportsbook in the East Coast, the best setup to watch sports. Get involved at MoheganSun.com. A couple of gambling notes to start the show. And we'll get our special guest here in a second, because I have a question for him as it relates to the game tonight, Jets and Texans. That is a line that makes no freaking sense. Okay, I am not an expert. I am just a degenerate who plays on the weekends. I'm not a sharp. I'm a dull. But this line, I need an explanation from our guest in a couple of minutes, an explanation from Brad Bryant, who will join us here from Mohegan Sun at about 6:15 or so, Jets and Texans. The public has bounced back here, folks. We start this show normally talking about what happened the previous week. Weeks 1 through 5, the public got their ass kicked betting the NFL. 48, 69, and 2 against the spread. That's 41%. Week 6, 7, and 8. How about this? 29 and 13 and 1. That is a 69% winning percentage. Nice. Rob Gronkowski's favorite number. Teams with 66% or more of the tickets. 21, 6, and 1. And we talk about this on the show. You hear it on a whole bunch of gambling shows all the time. Regression to the mean. Things have come back to normal. Things have started to come back to normal in the NFL. That's where my focus is. I know Bomber Brad is a college guy. I know Eitan bets college football. I know Diamond, who will give us a diamond in the rough pick later on the show. He loves college football as well. My focus on the NFL. And I wondered starting the year if something was up. Turns out it's just now finally getting to it. And there are some favorites that I like this weekend. There is a very weird favorite that is my best bet of the NFL. Very weird number in week 9 in the NFL. But I'm not afraid to bet those favorites anymore. I've seen them win consistently now, something Brad has talked about on this show. Don't be afraid to bet favorites this season. It's not becoming the sharp number of you got to bet the dog, got to get the right number. I don't think it's quite as in play this much this year. So I do think, looking at the public last couple of weeks, they've come back with a flourish. There'll probably be a balancing act there as well. And at the end of the year, we'll look back and say, yeah, pretty much a normal NFL year. Right? Pretty much normal NFL season. Dogs were barking early. Favorites last couple of weeks. Week 9, November 1st tomorrow. Now we turn the page. Now those teams that started hot, that are dead. We'll get to this Jets team, which y'all thought was going to be so good. They're dead and buried. They play tonight again in prime time. So the public has started to bounce back. Revenge of the public last 3 weeks in the NFL. I know Bomber comes on here and gives his advice every single show. Little sage advice from the Sportsbook. He'll have his own. Something I've wanted to mention now for a couple of weeks on this show, and now I get a chance to do it because Eitan's not here, and Eitan's dealing with some family issues tonight, and thoughts and prayers to Eitan and his family. That's why he's not joining us here tonight, and thanks to the Odd Shopper folks who are stepping in and producing the show here tonight. I don't even know if we're on the air or not, Okay, but I'll just keep talking until someone tells me I'm not on the air, but I thank those folks for helping us out in Eitan's absence. I think one of the most, not interesting is the wrong word, most beneficial things you can do as a sports bettor. Like if you're betting $20 a weekend, not shaming you, right? You have $20, you're betting same game parlays, trying to hit big. This is probably not the right idea. But if you're investing hundreds and thousands of dollars in sports betting, right, every weekend, even a couple $100 a sports weekend, I have found it is worth it to pay for information, right? And I don't mean pay for picks necessarily. And there are plenty of people who you can sign up and pay for their picks and get in their Discord, and they'll give you winners over the short term, long term, whatever. I mean data and information, because I think a majority of the people that are betting are just getting on their phone, looking at certain people they like. They like this show. They like the Action Network. They like ETR, and they want to bet those picks. But there are places out there like FTN who give you DVOA stats, deep dive stats, like information you can't just get scrolling the web. And I think if you're betting hundreds of dollars a weekend on the NFL, on the NBA, pick your spot. You'll know, depending on what sports you look at, what information is beneficial to you. But it is worth paying $30, $40, $50 a month for information not available to everybody. Someone else is doing the work for you if you're going to invest that type of money in sports betting. I say the same thing when it comes to horse racing. I love horse racing, Breeders' Cup weekend. Like, I pay for data. I pay for information. I pay for different products that maybe are a premium to some people, but it makes me smarter when I go in there and I'm playing on Saturday in the Breeders' Cup betting challenge, when I'm betting against other people, right? I think there's a benefit to doing that. And I don't want to push people to certain things, but find your sport, find the information that you think works. And I think paying for information and letting someone else do the work is beneficial. It's beneficial to me. Like, I know I've won more since I started doing that versus just scrolling on X, doing a Google search, looking at odds and some public betting numbers, the basic stuff. Paying for premium information, I think, can take you from kind of a middling handicapper to a winning handicapper. Just depends on what sport you play in. Certainly in the NBA, I think it's the most beneficial one because you get these lineup changes late at night and right before tip-off. What does do to minutes? Who's going to play where? People, you can pay for that information. And I think there are bettors out there that are weekend players that are betting a couple $100 a weekend that could benefit from $30, $40, $50 a month in some cases, maybe less than that, to get information that'll put you on to good bets. So that's sort of my advice. And Obama will come on and give his advice here in a little bit. But just a thought off the top here is look at week 9 in the NFL, college football, NBA underway. Something that I would look at if you're betting sports on a weekend basis in the hundreds of dollars, that sort of level. Meanwhile, I don't know who's producing. I apologize. We have our special guest waiting in the wings. We are stuck here, folks, at Mohegan Sun's FanDuel Sportsbook with the Jets again on primetime, right? The Jets in primetime, and the Jets absolutely stink. The Jets lost an embarrassing game to the Patriots last week. Their season's essentially over, okay? They don't exist anymore, I don't think. So I wanted to bring on a degenerate Jets fan to explain how their season is gone and to talk about this team and to talk about some bets. So, guys, I don't know. I don't know who I'm communicating with. I don't know if I have to text while I'm on the air here, if we can do this. But we do have a guest ready in the wings who should be connected. If we can connect that guest right now, that would be awesome. Because we have another spot, and this line makes no sense. But we are in another spot here tonight where a bad Jet team is in primetime. And someone's got to explain it. We can't flex games out anymore. We can't flex games on Thursday night. We should be able to flex them out. Because what happened here was somebody thought the Jets are going to be very good. I thought Jets are going to be very good. Aaron Rodgers reloaded in the offseason. I thought they might win the division, challenge Buffalo, but they weren't able to do that. And so we get another spot where the Jets are in primetime. And I think we have a degenerate Jets fan, guys. I will tell. It should be backstage somewhere, guys. He's backstage right now. If there's a producer helping us out, I know we're shorthanded here tonight, but there's a producer. I can't pot him up on my end. I can't pull him up. If you can pull him up, we got a degenerate Jets fan who's going to explain why his team is so bad and give us an insight into some other games this weekend. He's like me. He's betting these games on the weekend. He's locked into the NFL. He's locked into college football. This is what he is. This is what he's focused on doing. And he has his own sports betting podcast. And so, I'm not sure what producer is listening right now for Odd Shopper, but it would be great if we could pot up our guest who is in the backstage right now, who I want to welcome here, and I guess I will continue to vamp until we get him here at some point, or we have to take a break and try to get him locked in as it works shorthanded here tonight. Because this line makes no sense. Thursday Night Football, Jets and Texans. This thing opened 2.5. It got bet down to Texans -1. Open Jets 2.5-point favorites. And Sunday into Monday, we ended up getting money that put the Texans as the favorite. And then as the week has gone on, we are now back to Jets -2, and in some places, Jets -2.5. And the public betting does not suggest that. I'm looking at a major website, a major information site that shows you where the money is coming in, right? And normally you'd expect that if the Jets were going to start 2.5, get bet down to +1, then back to -2.5, there would be some sort of major amount of sharp money that was coming in. I'm just not seeing it. Like I'm seeing right now on the Texans, and I'll refresh this to get an idea of where we are right now. I am seeing 84% of the bets and 84% of the money currently on the Houston Texans, right, as a dog. There is only 16% of the money and 16% of the bets in the Jets. In what world is the line still sitting at 2? And now at one place I'm looking at right now, Texans +2.5. The Jets are terrible. They're 20-something in DVOA. We've seen that Aaron Rodgers has given up on this team. Like, there is all sorts of – it reeks of quit with this Jet team, right? That's sort of secondary to the stats. But the stats say the Texans are a better team. Top 10 DVOA. Yes, they're banged up, but they're 6-2. They have good wins. Like, I would understand this line being closer than you'd expect because it's a short week. And the Texans team, the Houston Texans, are banged up. No Steph Diggs. No Nico Collins, both guys out for this game. But there's nothing that says all of a sudden the Jets are going to find their level. Right now they've lost 5 in a row now. All 5 are by 1 score. But it's the way they've lost these games, sort of in back-breaking fashion. Like that is you cannot lose that game to a Patriots team with Jacoby Brissett in there at the quarterback spot. It's impossible for the Jets to lose that game, basically casting their season. Like you talk about NFL teams that are likely to quit over the next couple weeks, next month or so. The Jets are at the top of that list. Rodgers out, the Adams trade. They've not played well this year already. And now on a short week, where home teams on a short week on Thursday night have not played great, now they're favored by 2 points. How does this make sense? I'm seeing no sharp betting. I am seeing majority of the bets and the money coming in on this Texans team. I don't get it. And sometimes these things look too obvious, and I end up getting caught up in this. But why am I not supposed to bet the Texans here? Why is this not a play on the Texans plus the points? Why is this not a play on the Texans as an underdog, right, on the money line? Like everything points to that except the line. This is why I'm weirded out by this. Like there is no scenario where this makes any sense given these two teams, given the short week, and given the quit that is the judgment. And the Texans are bad. They're 6-2. They're top 10 DVOA. C.J. Stroud's still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. They can run the football. They've done that now with Joe Mixon. And they get this Jets team on a short week. And I had somebody come up before we came on the air today. And one of the fans here, Big Joe, I think his nickname was. And he's talking about, well, the Jets are favored because, they're the home team. But that's not been the case. You look at Thursday night games, the home team on a short week, looking back the last, what is it now? In this window, they're 13 games under 500, the home team against the spread. They're right around 500 when it comes to straight up. There's no big home field advantage when you talk about a short week on Thursday nights. So that part makes no sense. And when you're betting these NFL games and you see a number like this and you want to go double-fisted in on the Texans and this weird line looming out there, that's what scares me. So I'm flummoxed by this line. I will admit that. Sitting here at now 2 and some places plus 2.5 for the Houston Texans just doesn't make any sense. Sportsbook Live here at Mohegan Sun in the FanDuel Sportsbook. We are still efforting, texting back and forth to the producers, trying to get our guest. He's backstage. He is waiting. He's a degenerate Jets fan Hope to get him connected here at some point. We normally take a 30-second break at this point. I don't even know if we can do that, guys. I don't know if there's anyone back there running the show. For our friends at Odd Shopper, again, shorthanded today. Eitan Shander, our co-host, dealing with some family issues. Best to him. Thought we were all set up here to do the show. I don't know, guys. You can text me. I have my phone on me here to communicate. I don't see anything here in the chat. I see that our guest is waiting in the wings. So you can either go to break or pod him up, or we can keep going. You got to communicate with me a little bit and give me some sort of ideas. We're live here at Mohegan Sun and the FanDuel Sportsbook for week number 9 of Sportsbook Live. I will say this. We've had a lot of people that have watched the show on YouTube. They've been on here live to the Sportsbook. And I've been in this spot too. Like, you see somewhere you want to go, but like, how do you convince your girlfriend? How do you convince your wife? Well, in this case, I would say wife more than girlfriend, unless you do have kids with a girlfriend. That could be good as well. Mohegan Sun offers an unbelievable family fun for all hotel package. You watch this show, you've seen Bomber, you want to come say hello, come for the NFL playoffs. This is the way you do it, folks. Okay? This is geared for the entire family. This is a hotel package that comes with overnight stay at Mohegan Sun in one of their luxurious hotel rooms. A couple different hotels here, Sky and Earth. They'll get you set up there. $50 spending allowance for Kids Quest, which is an arcade. And it says Kids Quest. I could spend hours there. They have all sorts of, it's one of those things where, as a little bit of a DGen, you get yourself locked in. You try to win those tickets and win those prizes. And it's supposed to be for my kids. And then I'm like, oh, guys, let's put 20 more bucks in. Let's put 20 more bucks in and try to win some more tickets. We're going to get that big stuffed bear off the wall here at some point. So the family fun pack comes with not only the hotel stay, $50 spending for the Kids Quest arcade, and $50 food and beverage credit to use anywhere at any outlet here. Works for, I like how they put this here, for bar, and works at bar for adults. So you give the Kids Quest to go play at the arcade. You take the $50. You go sit. Yeah, it's a little restaurant across the way there. Let them play in the arcade, and you can get yourself set up. $50 there at the bar. Go to MoheganSun.com. Go to hotel packages, and that's all you have to do. It's a great deal, one of the great deals they have here at Mohegan Sun. You've been looking for an excuse to bring your wife or girlfriend and the kids here to Mohegan Sun during the NFL playoffs, during the bowl season, in and around March Madness, although they get jammed up here for March Madness. It is a great excuse to do so. Again, if we can get, I'm texting back and forth. I think who's producing here, guys. We can get our guest locked in for backstage or get to a break so we can bring Brad Bryant up here, sportsbook manager from Mohegan Sun. We can do that. Any sort of communication would be great. If not, we'll just roll with the punches. We can make it work that way. Brad, you want to come up? We're going commercial free at this point. Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook. We'll get you set up, and if our guest joins us here, we'll get our guest in here, the degenerate Jets fan. Bomber, we're live. We'll sit right down here, buddy. Happy Halloween. Good to see you. Pull your microphone up. Microphone camera fell down.
Happy Halloween.
That is the second time you knocked that down today.
Well, I think that was your fault. I did the first one, but
move over right here. We're going to get close.
Are we calling this? Are we just winging it today?
Well, we're dealing with some issues here. Getting the close screen here. They got us on a little bit of a close screen. We're going to sit next to each other.
Oh, mercy.
Eitan's got some family issues, and so we weren't able to connect with him. We're working shorthanded here today, but the show must go. Like, you are kind of a show business guy. Like, fans were going to be here. They're going to bet on the games. They're getting stuff for Breeders' Cup. You don't want to postpone the show. You want to be here live tonight.
Absolutely, and we can wing it. Me and you could just talk for hours on end.
We definitely can do that. What do you think of the costume here tonight?
I like the costume. My feelings are a little hurt because I didn't know you were going to do this. So, we could have really played it up. We could have been Sonny and Cher. We could have been Tequila and Lime. I mean, we could have been anything. We could have been Scooby-Doo and Shaggy. I mean, I don't know, a little hurt.
Scooby-Doo over there. Jordan, good job by you off the Scooby-Doo show. I don't know what character you are. I don't know Scooby-Doo well enough to know that. I expected you to be here in the Tony Romo. I thought it'd be Tony Romo and Mohegan the Cow.
I actually saw a guy in here yesterday that had a Tony Romo jersey on, and I went home and threw mine in the trash. So no more Tony Romo. It's done. No more Cowboys. No more. I'm done with them.
I was telling people about the great offer here at Mohegan Sun, the Family Fun package, which people should take advantage of. How about the sports book here? I know, obviously, week 9 in the NFL this weekend, college football, the reservation process. People want to come here and watch the game. Like right now, a lot of seating reserved for Breeders' Cup. You have a huge racing crowd coming in this weekend. Your race book is second to none on the East Coast. Best betting weekend of the entire year. on a normal NFL Sunday when there's no sort of Breeders' Cup or college football Saturday, what's the process here? How do people get themselves to make sure they're reserved a seat for a big football Saturday or Sunday in the sportsbook?
So the best thing you want to do if you're coming with a group, you want to go on MoheganSun.com, go to the sportsbook link, and then on that link, you can actually pull up reservations, and you can make your reservations ahead of time. That's the best way to do it. We do take walk-ups, but then you're risking, do you have a reservation once you get here? Because we do sell out on weekends. So we've got everything up for the rest of the year as far as reservations. And then we're shooting for December 1st. We're hoping to get up the rest of January, which will be NFL playoffs, Super Bowl in February, and March Madness at the same time.
So December 1st for that?
December 1st, put up the 3 months. And those are what people are waiting for is Super Bowl, playoffs, and March Madness.
All right. Is there a way for people, if they want to be notified when that goes? Is there any notification process if they call for on a waiting list? Because I had somebody ask me today about the Super Bowl. And obviously I know that we're doing a great giveaway where people can win themselves a table for the Super Bowl, but they can't reserve it now. Is there a notification process to call ahead to make sure they're on that list so that when those go live, they get a seat here? And by the way, Championship Sunday, I think is as good as the Super Bowl. She had the 2 games the week before. Yep. So I would put that on that list. Notification process, or people check the website starting December 1st. And where should they look on the website for those reservations?
Well, they should be following us on Facebook, Instagram, right? X. Once we put all those up, we do a release on there, and that'll tell you that it's up and running. So you should be following us on those, at least those 3. And then you'll know when everything comes up.
We may be joined by a special guest here in a second. Again, we're working shorthanded here, Sportsbook Live at Mohegan Sun, Mohegan the Cow, and Bomber Brad Bryant. You got to explain this line to me because, I'm not a sharp. I'm just a moron who bets on the weekends. Okay, but the Jets are 2-6, the Texans are 6-2. This line opened 2.5 Jets, got bet down to -1 Houston, and is now back to 2 or 2.5 Jets. The shitty Jets who lost this weekend to the Patriots, who look like they're about to give up right now. They have a quarterback who doesn't want to play. They have a team all looking for next year already. And it's back to not only a 2.5 point favoritism here, but the betting is all on the Texans. Public betting and the cash, 84% Houston, 16% on the Jets. So, Mr. Sportsbook guy, Mr. Get Rich When I Lose, what the hell is going on with this line? And why shouldn't I absolutely unload my entire Breeders' Cup bankroll on this Texans team tonight, money line?
I told you earlier, the bookmakers that make the line are giving the Texans absolutely no respect. Their power rankings on the Texans are not very good. Practically in the power rankings, these 2 teams, regardless of record, are pretty equal. So that being said, that's why you're looking at the Jets being favored in this spot.
The power rankings?
The power rankings that the bookmakers
they're 2-6 and are going to quit.
We're not talking about.
Is that a factor? Is Aaron Rodgers
absolutely not.
And his petty play? That doesn't factor into the power rankings in Vegas?
Not at this point. It's too early. What are we, week 9? I mean, they may quit tonight, but that could happen any week. You can never you don't know when that's going to happen. But if you look at the power rankings, who have the Texans beat?
Vikings. They beat some good teams this year.
Yeah, not enough.
The Vikings are a top 5. We're going to do top 5 NFL teams in a second. I'm sure you got Minnesota in the top 5. That's not a good win now?
Absolutely not. I don't have Minnesota in the top 5.
Okay, well,
I actually have Green Bay ahead of them.
We did this 3 weeks ago. You had Minnesota in the top 5. They keep winning games. Now they're out of the top 5?
Yeah, things change. Things change.
It sounds fraudulent to me. Your top 5 sounds very, very fraudulent to me.
Everything's fraudulent.
So you're telling me, the power rankings is the reason why. That's fine.
Yeah.
What's the right side of the game tonight? Because at least from a football standpoint, because I handicap the game itself, my power rankings tell me the Jets stink and the Texans are good. So I think the right side is Houston as a dog on the road. Even just forget the points. I want to play money line. You're telling me power rankings put the Jets in front. What's the right side of this game? What side would you want to book? If I walk up to the counter in my cow costume with the udders, which you can't, hands off the udders, what side would you want me to be betting as a bookmaker?
I want you to bet the Texans tonight. I want to be on the Jets. If I was betting, I want to be on the Jets.
I just think I think people you're getting locked in too much to preseason power rankings, and you're tying it into, we have a 8-week body of work that tells us the Jets are not very good. Now on a short weekend, do you factor in emotional loss they had against the Patriots? That was a terrible loss to Jacoby Brissett.
That is a
terrible
terrible
the Patriots
loss
on Sunday.
And listen, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. it would be hard for me to put my money on the Jets. But if you made me pick a side tonight and I had to borrow 50 from my wife to go bet, I would put it on the Jets because I think they're telling you they're the right side. Do I agree with that? Not necessarily. The Jets looked bad the other day.
They were terrible.
They called 3 timeouts in the first quarter. When has that ever happened?
Well, that's Rodgers. He's so afraid of taking a false start. He's burning timeouts on the third quarter.
Yeah.
First quarter.
I think they're just telling you the Jets are the right side. Texans may beat them 40-0. Who knows? But I'm just telling you, it's all based on the power rankings of the bookmakers that make the money, make the odds. The wise guys are betting that side. That's why it went to one way, and it all came back, right? The money's back to where 2.5 now. So I think they're telling you the Jets are the right side. They don't win every game. Bookmakers don't win every game. They could be wrong, but I think that's the reasoning behind it.
So I know we'll get to some of your sage advice. I gave people advice off the top. Mine is that I pay for information. Like, I think it's important to pay. If you want to cut the middleman out, let someone do the work for you. I think it helps out your sports betting. Certainly helps out in horse racing. We'll get a Breeders' Cup pick or two in here before the end of the hour. There was a big story yesterday in Business Insider about Wall Street is coming after sports betting. And the idea is all these quants, all these algorithms, and you've started to see it a little bit already, but these trading companies, right, they are coming after sports betting. They want to attack sports betting head on. And the quote that I saw from one of these Wall Street experts was, this is going to make it harder for guys like me to win money. Do you already see this happening? And what kind of impact is it going to have when these trading companies decide we're going to turn our information, we're going to turn our algorithms, turn all our computers into the sports betting side of it and take on Vegas, take on Mohegan Sun, take on FanDuel?
Well, I think we already see that from both sides of it. I think there's groups that are out there that are betting, that are using algorithms. And you know that bookmakers are already using algorithms. We've talked about that pretty extensively on this show. When we talked about last week, games were 7, they were 10, they were 14. Now you see 5. Now you see 12.5. Now you see 19.5. You used to never see those. I think part of that is driven from algorithms. The same with the props. I think a lot of that is algorithms. If you remember back when we talked about live betting, and I thought there was an edge on live betting because it's really all driven by algorithms. The one thing an algorithm can't do is visually watch a game. You play the horses like I do. If it was that easy to look at a form and tell me that this horse can run a 112 for 6 furlongs, he can win. Well, that's not always the case, right? Can a horse that runs 12 at $5,000 claimer, 112-1, can he run a 112-1 and a grade 1? No. Can you explain that? No, I can't. But it just doesn't work that way, right? And I think that I think algorithms are going to be part of it. It's just technology, and I think it's going to be tough. It is going to make it. I don't know if it necessarily is going to make it tough for people to win, but I think it's just going to be, the lines are going to be tighter than they've ever been.
It's funny you said that. So one of the analysts, this was the quote from the analyst here in this story on Business Insider. We got our special guest here. I will finish this thought in a second.
Jets, Jets.
Okay, can you pot yourself up there, special guest?
Yes, this was good. This one very smooth, very good. We call that a good transition in the business. Perfect timing. Mutt, you did great just talking to yourself for minutes. It's why you're a pro. This is why you're a pro.
It felt like an hour there. Joining us now for those watching on YouTube or on the big screen here in the Sportsbook at Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook is Mike Montante. Mike Montante is the host of the Degen Zone podcast. He is a degenerate Jets fan. All he does is gamble on football. I heard him recently on a podcast say, like, literally, if there's a football game on, he wants to be sitting down and watching it and drinking and betting on whatever that game is. Doesn't matter what the game is, college, NFL. Did I misquote you, Mr. Montante?
Not at all. And thank God I have a significant other that appreciates that and understands that. You don't ask me if football's on. I'm not doing anything. And there's those days, it's June, you're bored. Maybe it's not beach weather, can't go to the beach. And you would kill to have a horrific football game on television. I take no football for granted. If football's on, I'm watching it, and I'm having the time of my life each and every night.
The greatest words you've ever said consecutively in a sentence right there. You've heard me rip on the Jets here for half an hour. Can you explain to me why they're favored here? And as a degenerate Jets fan who has lost thousands of dollars, Mike Montante, betting the Jets last couple of weeks.
Yes, it's been fun.
2,000 last 2 weeks. You're honest about it. Are you betting on the Jets again tonight? And why the hell are they favored in this spot against the Texans?
Why they're favored? We're going not across country, but a decent trip on a short week for Houston. Houston's banged up. I think Bombers might be a slot receiver tonight. They're toast. Diggs is out. Nico Collins is out. So you have Robert Woods as a premier playmaker for them. Good luck when you got going up against a talented team on paper. And I got a little stat for you. Now, I know none of these players are actually playing during these games, but Houston all-time against the Jets, 2-7-1 against the spread. Short week, Halloween. This is the best 2-6 team in NFL history. This is a Montante promise. I promise you, if you're out there listening, if you're on the fence, I give you my word as a man, as a Jet fan, everything that I have, the Jets win tonight. It may not be pretty, but the Jets will win a 3-6 football team tonight. Bet your mortgage on it. Responsibly.
Yes. So do you get a prize there for being the best 2-6 team? Is that like you wear one of those T-shirts, a fan of the best 2-6 team in the history of the NFL?
I'll take it because there's not many teams out there that can claim that. So you got to be remembered for something. So I will definitely take it. And I'm delusional. I still see a path to the playoffs. I think it starts tonight. It has to start tonight. When you run back the championship DVD, it starts on Halloween. You'll remember where you were when the Jets beat the Houston Texans. You can shake your head all you want. You're wearing a cow costume, okay?
Have you seen odds on how many timeouts the Jets will call in the first quarter tonight?
Well, thank God.
Thank God.
I don't know if you said Bomber, so I can tell you don't follow sports. Goodell actually gifted us 2 extra timeouts for the first half. So things are going to be good. We're fine. We don't need a head coach, and we're fine with 3 timeouts. We'll be just fine. Bomber, I'm disgusted by you a little bit. Your Cowboys stink. You giving up? You can't give up on your team. That says a lot about your character.
I know it, but I've got to give up. It's just too hard to watch, man. I can't take it anymore.
Well, all right. So you like the Jets tonight? Short week. You said bet your mortgage responsibly.
Responsibly,
again,
bet everything you have on it.
Responsibly.
Yeah.
Are you more focused on the NFL or college? And sort of take us through the Mike Montante process. Again, the host of the Gen Zone podcast every single week. I know that you do a smart thing, and Bombers talked about this. If you were here at the FanDuel Sportsbook, why don't you bet on FanDuel? If you have access to other places, I think Bomber would admit you're shopping around for your best price. My guess is, Mike, that's part of your process. So how do you look at these games, college, NFL, each week?
Yeah, so when it comes to NFL, this is our 4th year of the Gen Zone. The first 2 years, very profitable. I'm up over 100 units last year. Actually had a negative year, but so that's why I pivoted from going. Now we go all-time units because last year was actually bad. But we're back up this year. Yeah, when I'm in a state like New Jersey, I have access to 8 legal sports books, and all it takes is one sports book to slip up, and you get a guy who's plus 300, plus 250, plus 250. All it takes is one sports book to just not be paying attention, catch him slipping. You get a guy plus 1,000, you already win before the game even starts. So if you play the odds long enough, you actually will come up on the better end. And coming back to Mohegan Sun, it's a FanDuel sportsbook. I got a prop for you tonight that actually FanDuel is slipping a little bit on it, and you can take advantage of it. Now, I don't know if you know this, but an absolutely loaded team, this 2-6 Jets team, their 4th or 5th best option will not be here next week. We are showcasing Mike Williams to the NFL. And I actually think that he goes to Houston because injury problems, they could use a guy like this. Yeah. You got a guy like C.J. Stroud, get him some playmakers. I think they're going to make it a point of emphasis to get the ball to Mike Williams tonight. I know Mike Williams scores. Number 18 will score. You can go to DraftKings, get him plus 340. Great. Go to FanDuel. Get him plus 550. By far and away, the best odds legally that you could bet in New Jersey. And if you use that little boost that Etan likes to tease, I use that little boost. I got him plus 720 anytime touchdown score. Absolutely guaranteed. There's a better chance that he scores 2 touchdowns tonight than 0.
Okay, we've done the show now. This is the 9th week. I have never seen Bomber, when one of us spoke on the show, literally write down the bet with a smile on his face like he likes it. You have just made the sportsbook manager, Mike, at Mohegan Sun, write down your bet. He likes your bet so much in this spot. He just wrote it down on a piece of paper. He has it written down, plus the odds on it. I think he wants to go walk back and try to knock the number down here. Why did you write that down?
I mean, why not? I want to be able to look at it tonight and have something to watch. So
I have that effect on people. Yes, absolutely. Good.
So you're playing football every single week, Montante. You're betting it. You're talking about your podcast. Any other games you like this weekend? The segment was supposed to be early on in the show called Jets and Bets. We talked about your Jets. It's ridiculous you like them to win. Any other bets you like this weekend? Because I know at some point there'll be a group chat where you're firing these things off. So for the Mohegan Sun Sportsbook Live audience, we need the Montante picks for the weekend.
Good. Yeah. So I would advise it right now. Thank God the global warming. Let's not get political here, but one of the benefits of global warming is warm weather. So take advantage of this warm weather. Go play some golf. Get an early tee time. Come back on Saturday for college football. You know any Penn State fans, any of them. Eton lives in Pennsylvania. I'm sure he knows a couple. They all say the same thing. Yeah, James Franklin is good. He can recruit, but he can't win the big game. I got news for you. The big game's this week. Ohio State's going to march into Happy Valley, -3.5. Don't worry about the points. They kill them. This is the game that they will come back to months from now saying, yeah, we had a good year, but this is the butt game. Okay. And on top of that, Penn State, they're 2-4 against the spread the last 6 games, but I don't care about that. This is the James Franklin can't win a big game spot. Book that. And then we're going to go to Sunday. This is probably
hold on 1 second. I want to let the sports. I want to let Bomber play better to book it. You heard him give his big soliloquy there. He likes Ohio State. He likes them to beat Penn State. Would you want to bet or book that?
I'm probably going to bet that. I mean, he can't beat Ohio State. I was looking at it before. When's the last time Penn State beat Ohio State?
It's been a while.
I don't know.
I think Sandusky was a free man. That's how far back we got to go.
That would be a while ago. All right, so he would bet that with you. Good point by you, Mike.
I'm with you.
How about in the NFL on Sunday?
NFL, sometimes the sexy games are not the games to bet. So I'm going to go grotesque here. I'm going to go to Cleveland, Ohio. Jameis Winston and Justin Herbert will go against each other this game. I love the over 42.5. And sometimes you got to buck a trend. The last 7 games for Cleveland, the unders hit 5 out of the 7. Then you go across the huddle, you look at the Chargers, the last 9 games for the Chargers, 8 of those have gone over or under. Don't care. The trend ends here. These teams are putting up points. This over hits by the end of the third quarter. Jameis is throwing touchdowns, whether it's to the defensive back or 3 to his own team. They're getting points here, and the Chargers with Harbaugh can score, will score. 42.5 lock.
See, it's interesting. I think people have not given the Jameis thing enough weight. Like, he is such a better quarterback, Mike, than Deshaun Watson is. Like, I think they're live as a dog this weekend. I don't hate the over in that spot because they're going to throw it. I think they're going to get away from the run now, let Jameis sort of throw it around there. And he is so much better than Deshaun Watson. And the market, I don't think, is quite caught up to it. So the over is good. I also lean Cleveland plus the points in that spot because he's that much of an upgrade over Deshaun Watson.
He is. And I don't know if you guys see this, but the comments say that the audio is in Spanish. Is that?
Buenos noches, amigos.
That's more than I have. That's more than I have. And then my last game, I was going to go Cowboys, but Bomber's lack of enthusiasm actually scared me away from it. I scribbled it off. There's something about a loss. Not every loss feels the same. I was actually on Chicago +2 last week, so I'm still reeling from that. That loss hurts you. That loss really hurts you. The Bears going across country to Arizona. They're not going to bounce back that quickly. I like that little guy. I think that's the politically correct way to say the M word nowadays of quarterback for Arizona. And I think right now in 2024, not going forward, it'll probably be different, but right now, 2024, he is the better quarterback over the rookie in Chicago. So 1.5 for Arizona, just to be safe. I don't like getting beat by the hook. I'm gonna go Cardinals at home -120.
Just to point this out, so their emotional loss is going to affect them, but the Jets crapping their pants against the Patriots lose that game. That's not going to affect them tonight. So the Jets are immune from emotional tough losses. That's what you're saying.
You have a leader that is pure blood and believes in ayahuasca. He's mentally above the bad juju, and it starts tonight. I get what you're saying, but this does not apply to this 2-6 Jet team.
All right, I know it's a big week for you with the election on Tuesday. Anything else you want to promote for the where can people find the DGen Zone podcast? When does it air? Where can they find it?
So at the very least, it'll come out Sunday mornings. We try to do them Friday nights, but things happen. Charlie just had a kid. So always Sunday morning, quick 15 minutes. We get in and out, and we tweet it out. And then we do $50 parlay, his favorite pick for each time slot, my favorite pick. And they're long shots. You got to be plus 500 to be in our pick. So we're giving out picks, $50, 2 people to score for $8,000. So if you retweet the show, we do a little spinning wheel. We'll pick out a name, and if we hit, then we'll split the parlay with you. Give it a listen. Our track record's there. If someone wants to audit us, I keep everything on a Excel spreadsheet. And we're some weeks are bad, but all you need is a couple to hit, and you're the prophet. So check out the Gen Zone.
Have you been here to the new Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook yet since they've renovated this bad boy?
Yeah, I don't know when it was renovated. I was there 3 years ago for March Madness, and when it was there, it's a beautiful sports book, and there's no better time to be in a sports book than March Madness. Those first 2 days of the tourney, so I probably got the height of it.
Can we welcome Mike here as our guest for stepping in? We can
Absolutely.
get him out here.
Absolutely. We
Get
were
him a
just
table,
talking
get him
about
set
March
up.
Madness earlier, so absolutely, we'll get you a table, get you a sofa, put you in the mezzanine. You'll have a hell of a time.
Oh, get the whole crew
I'm
there.
in.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm in.
Mick, Mike, the entire Justin.
Yeah.
Oh, let's
Please.
do it.
I'm in.
All right, so we got all your bets. We will put those on social media. You and I are going to go heads up in our picks this week, and you get Bombers picks as well. The Gen Zone podcast every Sunday. You said on Twitter. Where on Twitter? Where can they get it? Is it
at the Gen Zone? Nice and easy.
The Gen Zone.
And our podcast is not available on Apple because I have not figured out how to get it there. So shout out to Spotify. They got the big guys like me and Joe Rogan.
By the way, same as me. I'm only on Spotify and on Substack.
I have no idea how to get an Apple. Not a clue.
Who needs Apple? We're
Nope.
good.
Screw Apple.
Mike, good luck tonight with your Jets.
Pleasure.
They're going to lose, but enjoy it.
See you guys later.
See ya.
That is our Mike Montante joining us. Special guest here, D-Gen Jet. Let's round of applause for Mike Montante. Stepping in. I believe we have a quick 30-second message from our friends at Mohegan Sun, and we'll come back and wrap it up here. Sportsbook Live, week number 9. I think we have a commercial. If we don't...
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously, everyone. We're off to the races. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. High score, dance floor. Apps, craps, and nightcaps? Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
This football season, take in every epic moment on the largest HD video wall in the Northeast at the Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook.
Sportsbook
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously.
In the NFL, Mike Mutnansky normally, but today, Mohegan the cow. Not Mohegan the cow. Get it? Mohegan?
Yeah, that's bad.
Okay, it's not good. Could be a cash cow as well. Either way, I'll be betting horses all weekend. Hopefully they don't run like a cow in the Breeders' Cup. Want to remind people we are doing a massive giveaway here next Thursday night, 6 to 7 p.m., FanDuel Sportsbook. You have to be here to win, right? This is week number 10, big grand finale of the show. Bomber Brad Bryant put a big prize out there for the people in week number 2. He said, look, you show up here, make a $10 sports bet there at the windows. If you're listening now behind me, go make a $10 sports bet. Go see our guy Mike in the red hat, middle of the room. You qualify for a $100 FanDuel voucher. Right? But the grand prize next week, everyone who makes that bet, these 9 weeks, now 10 weeks next week, qualifies for a table for 4 in the sports book, any NFL Sunday, food and beverage comp, hotel room, should it make sense. And I would think, Bomber, I know you don't open the reservations until December 1st. If they win next week and immediately say, we want Super Bowl, they will get a table right away.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll lock it in. We'll actually put you in a table and put it in our system so that way nobody gets it. But I just want to mention, you may win the grand prize of the Super Bowl for coming in here and watching it. But after talking to Mike,
yeah,
you're not going to want the grand prize because that's a treat in itself. I mean, look at this guy. He wears a suit, a sweater vest, his limo driver hat.
And by the way, served our country, Mike did.
He served our country.
Yes.
I mean, he's just a great guy. He's been with us since day one, too.
USA champ breaking out.
USA champ breaking out.
Thank
Love
you,
it.
Justin.
Love it.
All right, so we ask every week, Mohegan Metrics. You're able to track there at the sportsbook what people are betting on. I'll give you 3 picks coming up. I'm going to go heads up against Mike Montante this week as Aton is is out this week with some family issues and best in his family, excuse me. Mohegan Metrics, who's betting what right now? Thursday night, college football, NFL. Baseball's over, unfortunately, because I bet the Yankees. That did not work out for me. So baseball's over until next year. Who's being bet college NFL this weekend here at the book?
So one of the biggest games this week, and I actually like the other side, is everybody's on Indiana. 8-0 team. So about 90% of the bets are actually on them. Another one that people are playing too, and I think this is against UCLA, but people like Nebraska. So those are 2 of the biggest ones that they're playing this week. On the other side, the number 2 bet game this week so far, the Texans +1.
Yeah, man, that's well, they grabbed that the 1.5. It's up to 2. And I'm looking right now. I'm not at FanDuel, but it's 2.5 in some places. I'm with those people. I think the Texans the play tonight.
Yeah, okay. And then that's why we have legal sports betting. And then the other one is the Commanders, which I'm a little shocked at, but people are really buying into this Commanders team. So Commanders -3.5 is a big bet this week. And then, of course, the Lions are on there every week. In the NFL, the funny thing about NFL, it's usually the same teams every week. Lions, Vikings, Eagles, Patriots. I don't know.
That's funny. I was wondering if it might be skewed here. I know Diamond's the big Patriots fan. I was rooting them to lose last week. I don't want wins. I want a draft pick. I don't care if Jacoby Brissett wins or loses. I want to watch
I don't want wins either.
I want to watch Drake May play football, and I'll watch my team get a high draft pick as a Patriots fan. And it's weird because my kids are like rooting for them to win and come back and beat the Jets, and I got to be the Scrooge saying, no, we actually want to lose this game, guys. You're saying that the Patriots are one of the most bet teams?
Yeah. So
getting points at Tennessee?
In the week, yeah, absolutely. Tennessee's bad. I was on them last week. They I don't know, turning the ball over. They can't play defense. They might be one of them, maybe the worst team in the NFL.
All right, November 16th, a couple weeks from now, UFC 309, huge event. I know you guys, 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, a UFC night. This place becomes an absolute party. We mentioned reservations before. What's the plan for that big 309? Is that John Jones?
John Jones finally making his return. He was supposed to come months ago. He had an injury. We had a big event scheduled. We weren't able to do it, so we moved it back to this one. But UFC 309, you want to make your reservations now because we will sell out, and we will sell out fast. But we're going to have a ton of drawings. We've got some Conor McGregor swag. So we're going to have some of his stuff here, that signed autograph hats, and he actually has trading cards, like baseball cards, but they're UFC cards that he's signed for us. We're going to give those away. We just going to be a big party for that night. And John Jones brings them in, but we're excited about that.
All right, how about your picks this weekend, Bomber? I'm not going to point out they've not been good.
They have not been
the last couple of weeks. You always tell me to handicap the handicapper. I'll give you a second here. My advice to the people off the top of the show is information is key. Paying for information is as good, if not better, than paying for winning picks. Before we get to your picks and my picks for the week, any advice for the people? Week 9 in the NFL, finding out who is good. When someone cozies up to you here at the Sportsbook and says, Bomber, I need some advice here this week, what would you tell them?
So I like what you said, but I just want to distinguish. I don't think I'm going to buy anybody's picks. But I do think there's a ton of information out there. And we've talked about that before. I know one of the shows that we've watched on I'll say a rival network.
Sure.
You know, you get up and you watch that show for 3 hours every morning. There was so much information in that 3 hours that you couldn't have got it, or I couldn't have got it, or we couldn't have processed it in the time we could have sat there and watched that show. So I do think there's a lot of value in that, in the information highway. Just don't go nuts and be buying pick. Make your own decisions.
And I like that too. Like, and it goes back to something the late Bob Newmeyer said. Bob Newmeyer was a legendary sports anchor in Boston. He loved racing, did many events here at Mohegan Sun, and he didn't want the picks. He wanted the information. And I feel the same way about racing and in sports. The NFL especially, some of the DVOA numbers, drive numbers, time possession numbers, rush and pass percentage numbers, like those have pointed me. I've had a great year in totals, terrible on sides. But I think I'm now 7-1 in totals this year, weekly picks. And a lot of that is information that I'm getting from people paying for it's $50 a year to get the information.
Definitely nothing wrong with that. You've got to have information. And I don't care who you are. It's almost impossible to get all the information and process it. But if I can sit there and watch a 3 or 2 hour show and a guy all of a sudden tells me, by the way, you know, this team's coming off a big win and then they're going on the road for short travel week, things like that I can pick up that I wouldn't have, maybe I missed, that's value. And you don't need to pick up a lot of those to pay for that $50, right? I mean, that's just a couple of bets and you made your money back.
I could not agree more. Yep. With that being said, I want to hear your picks for the week. I'll give you some picks and we'll talk the rest of this weekend in the college and the NFL ranks live here in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Mohegan Sun Sportsbook Live.
Well, we definitely need to get better on our picks. They haven't been good the last couple of
Handicap
weeks.
The handicapper.
No. So it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. But I'm going to give you a winner this week. So Michigan State in the college. Indiana 8-0. Probably one of the best seasons Indiana's ever had. But on the road at Michigan State, laying 7.5. Give me Michigan State plus 7.5. I will actually take a little bit on the money line for Michigan State because I expect them to storm the field at the end of the game. So I'll take them. And then we're going to switch over to the NFL. And I like a team that big win last week. And I think they're getting better if their quarterback stays healthy. I think, and they actually made my top 5 power rankings. And I like Green Bay. Green Bay in the NFL this week plus 2.5, plus 3 at home.
Did we get confirmation Jordan Love's definitely going to play? Would you? Okay, I'll take it because I did some questions about him playing. And if there's been updated information last hour, I apologize. When you're listening, go check out the latest. But if he weren't to play in this game and that line were to go up, would you still play with Malik Willis at quarterback? He's played for them already this year. He's played okay for them, acquired from the Titans. If Jordan Love does not go, Are you still going to be into that bet, even if the line goes up and you get to 4.5 or 5?
No, I think I'm going to pass just because of who they're playing, because they're playing Detroit, and I think Detroit's phenomenal and a really good team, so I'm going to pass. If it was another team, I'd probably be okay with it, but I'm not going to. It's hard enough to sweat Detroit with a good quarterback, so I'm not going to be sweating them with a backup.
All right, so you don't like the Minnesota Vikings. They're my favorite pick of the entire weekend. The Minnesota Vikings, said the people are betting them right now. At last check on the FanDuel Sportsbook app, they were -5 against the Indianapolis Colts. This is a great spot for Minnesota. Off an extended break, playing one of the worst defenses in the NFL in this Colts defense. They are 26th against the pass, 11th against the run. They want you to pass against them. This Colts defense wants you to pass against them. Guess what Sam Darnold wants to do? Throw the football. One of the best throwing teams in the NFL. They're healthy wide receiver. They're getting back their star tight end, TJ Hawkinson, this week. So to me, I saw immediately like this game. It was sitting at -5. And normally, Bomber, that's a number where I sort of push away and say, weird number, bad number. You've said the last couple of weeks, I've noticed it's played out. The favorites in the NFL, those weird numbers, are not the worst bets anymore. Something has changed there a little bit. And so I'm not scared off by that 5. I think Minnesota's much better. They would be in my top 5 power rankings. For you not to have them in your top 5 is insane to me. How about Minnesota laying 5 against the Colts this week? That's my side here on the show.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. And I think, like we talked about last week, the 5 I don't think is a big deal. So you're going to see more numbers like that. And I think what we talked about earlier with the Wall Street getting in, I think you're going to see more of that.
All right, how about a total? We've, again, 7-1 on totals this year. Jaguars and Eagles, 45.5. It started at 46. It's gone down a little bit. I want the under in this spot. And I admit, this is we could get burned here, okay? We could get absolutely smoked on Jags-Eagles under because the Jaguars might suck out loud defensively, and the Eagles may run all over them. But here's the thing we have going for us. The Jags are a pretty good run defense. Philadelphia wants to do everything to get on the run. They do all this play-action stuff. If they can't run the ball, they're going to have trouble scoring. You know the only team in the NFL who's not scored a point in the first quarter this year? The Philadelphia Eagles. They have not scored a point in the first quarter dating back to last year. They are slow starters, and all we need here, because Jacksonville's offense is terrible. No Christian Kirk. He's not going to play. Brian Thomas is questionable. So they're not going to score. If we can get the Eagles, even in the mid-20s, 27-13, 20-14, that's well under that number. The Eagles want to run, could struggle running the football. Jacksonville getting some guys healthy defensively and sucks on offense. I want the under 45.5, Jacksonville and Philadelphia. You want to bet that? You want to book that?
No, I'll bet that with you. I actually like that because you're talking about two teams that you just need a few drives where they just keep the ball and then they don't score and they punt it away, and then you should be good. Stay away from the fluke turnovers, and you should be in good shape on that one.
All right, my prop this week is tied into that Minnesota game. So I'm double dipping, and I have a same-game parlay since and Mike Montante gave out a good one. Eitan's not here to give out one. I want to give out one and get your thoughts. Sam Darnold's passing yardage total right now on FanDuel, the alt line is 250. I took the over at basically even money. And my feeling is this, Bomber. They're healthy. They're off a break. Tight end back. Colts bad against the pass. Primetime game Sunday. They throw at 60%. They throw as the third most of any team in the NFL. Even when they're winning, they throw. So why can't Sam Darnold throw for 300 yards? Even 255 gets me home. I want the yard. I want to book every player prop, but how about over 250 Sam Darnold Sunday night?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but I think I still want to book it, but definitely makes sense to lean that way with Sam Darnold.
Same game parlay. If you like Minnesota to win the game outright, put them at the money line. Sam Darnold over his total. TJ Hawkinson back from Minnesota. Hawkinson is one of the better tight ends in the NFL. The Colts are 26 DVOA against opposing tight ends. Anytime touchdown Hawkinson, Vikings win, and Sam Darnold over. Boosted on FanDuel is about 8-1. Does that get your fan? You want to book that too? You love when guys like me walk up to the board and play same game parlays.
No, not really.
You love that.
No, I mean
sucker born every day.
I'm not opposed to same game parlays by no means. I mean, did you have 4?
I have 3 legs.
Yeah, 3 legs.
All correlated, right? Minnesota wins. They throw the football.
Yeah.
Hawkinson scores against a bad tight end defense.
No, that's good. 3-4 teams, you're good. You get much above 4 teams, then you're just throwing darts.
All right, so Breeders' Cup weekend, kind of a would you call it a private event here this weekend?
I mean, we're open to the public. We just
limited seating.
Limited seating because we love horse players. You know that, right?
Go ahead, yes.
And these guys just a lot of times they don't get treated like they think they should, and we want to take care of them, and so we got them in first. So We will have seating available definitely tomorrow. We will have some seating available on Saturday, but definitely we're taking care of our racebook players that are here with us day in and day out.
Well, and I've said this before, both on my website, my newsletter, mutstack.com. I've said it on the radio in Boston. I've said it here with you. What you guys do for the horse player is legitimately second to none. As we have seen casinos go and push away the horse player and just push towards sports, what you have done and what Zach Montoya and Madeline and your whole team here has done, Shaq, like the way you welcome in the horse player, to me is incredible. And when people ask me about where to go bet the horses, I live in Boston, right? So there's no horse track whatsoever. I got to drive 300 miles to Saratoga. So I tell people, go to Mohegan Sun, go see Brad, get a seat for the day, get your racing form, and bet on their app. I appreciate, as a fellow horse player, what you guys have done. My only knock would be this. It's been a while since we've had one of those NHC contests here. We could use a contest here at Mohegan. I played in the last one. I busted out early, but you treated us very well that day. When can we get more contest play back here?
We are talking about actually holding a big one next year. So more
Really?
to come on that. But we've had initial discussions with the NHC of holding a big one somewhere around next April. So look for something to come out on that maybe in later part of December.
Okay, I will hopefully be part of that. Hopefully make it. You know what? Even if I can't play, wouldn't it be good for you to hire like an MC for that, like a host for the day to talk to players, talk about the races? Like
there he is. Oh, hire him.
Justin's saying hire me.
I thought you were wanting the job. I didn't know you were his agent.
Oh, Justin. Oh, but he has a great job. Producer Kirk Minahan Show. Okay. I have to mention this before we get out of here. We left here last week, myself and Justin. We went over to the Bow and Arrow Sports Bar. And there's this guy, Joe. I don't want to go into a long story here, but there's a guy who's dying of cancer. His name is Joe. He said that he's not faking the cancer. So he told us, Bomber, that the pretzel at the Bow and Arrow Sports Bar was the best salted pretzel he's had in his life. We walked over there. It's as big as your head. It's only $10. It feeds two. And I gave it an 8.6 out of 10. Justin gave it a 9. Have you had the pretzel yet?
Have you not had the pretzel in here?
I know you had a pretzel here.
We have a pretzel here. So you go over there and you buy a pretzel.
Yep.
And you could have eaten one here.
I paid cash too.
You paid cash. I hope they double charged you, but we're going to get a pretzel when we get off air here. We're going to get a cold cocktail and we're going to get a pretzel. We're going to see if we'll let you compare them.
That works for me. Real quick before we get out of here. So Breeders' Cup this weekend. You haven't looked at your bets yet. I am going to handicap. I did a podcast today with Jessica Paquette, Dick Girardi, two great handicappers. Mutstack.com. Subscribe for free. I'm going to do all my picks on Saturday. I will be here with the Big A, Anthony Stabile. You've lowered your standards. You've hired us for Saturday to handicap. My favorite bet of the day is the last race of the day Saturday. Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, domestic product, 7-2 on the morning line for Chad Brown. It's going to sit just off the pace, mid-pack. Is going to power home and win for fun. Going to get 3-1, 4-1 somewhere in there. My best bet of the day, but I'll pick all the races here in the race book on Saturday and mutstack.com. Have you looked at any of the races yet, or is that going to be tomorrow?
No, I won't get
I need your pick for
tomorrow.
Saturday.
I don't have one yet. I'll just piggyback you.
Listen, I want to thank folks. Obviously, this was not technically, I think we worked out okay. We worked out the issues from last week, but we had some issues producing it here. Thank Greg and the entire staff back there at Odd Shopper for on short notice stepping up. We wanted to keep the show going here tonight. Not quite the setup normally on the video. Thank you for watching. We'll be back next week for week number 10, the grand finale, Bomber. Big grand prize giveaway.
Does that mean we're on live support?
Your bankroll's on life support,
okay.
given your
All
bets
right,
here
checking.
the last couple of weeks. We thank you for coming here to watch live. We're going to give away some money here in a second. You want to send the people off with what you say about good teams and great teams?
Yeah, good teams win, great teams cover.
Watch on YouTube. See you next week, folks. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously, everyone. We're off to the races, and it's you for the win. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. High score, dance floor. Who needs skill when you have style? Apps, craps, and nightcaps? Yes. Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
Something amazing's always happening at Mohegan Sun.
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously, everyone. We're off to the races. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. High score, dance floor. Apps, craps, and nightcaps? Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
Back of House is back with a new season and new episodes. Go behind the scenes to watch and win at backofhouse.tv.